Hey you guys, this is Jeremy Mateo within the DAW, and welcome back. And today's video is going to start off a new series that we're going to be taking a look at, and this is on the Palmieri collection. I believe that that's how it's pronounced, from NoiseAsh. This is a really cool collection of a bunch of different mixing effects and production effects designed to help you essentially get professional results as quick as possible. Now, we're going to start off by checking out the Vocal Finalizer, and that's because this kind of has a jack of all trades kind of vibe to it. It's using many of the effects that you will find in the Palmieri collection, only stripped down to help you get your results really quickly. And this plugin is, as it says, specifically aimed at vocals. So let's start off by taking a quick look at the UI. Really simple. The first knob you see on your left is the intensity knob. This controls how much compression you want. If you turn it to the left, you're going to get less compression or more of an expander, and to the right is going to give you more compression. You have 3 different compression modes: soft, medium, and hard. And then you have a noise gate. And then under that, we have 2 knobs, the body and the brightness. This is your high and low shelf EQ. And according to the manual, these are emulated after some high and low shelves from studio consoles. I'm assuming an SSL or an API or a Neve. Doesn't matter at this point. Analog emulations are all pretty good, so we don't really have to worry about that. The stereo width control is going to control the stereo width of the doubler, delay, and the reverb. And then you have your input and output knob, and that's pretty much it. The doubler has 3 different types. The delay has a second note, fourth note, and an eighth note. Keep in mind that in the manual it says these are all dotted notes, so this is technically a dotted second, dotted quarter note, dotted eighth. You have your reverbs that has eternity, long, medium, and short, and that's it. So let's start off by just taking a quick look at how this mix sounds without any processing on it whatsoever. This is a vocal you've heard before. The only thing that we did is we reprocessed it through some of my gear to sound really aggressive and make it sound like it's recorded in a rough way. That way we can see if the Vocal Finalizer can really polish off a rough recording. So here we go.
I said, mama need a house, baby need some shoes. You think it ain't about the paper, then you gotta confuse. Many men have died and tried in the pursuit of the cash. They say you make too much, the IRS on your ass. Now ain't it funny how this money done?
Cool, so automatically we're hearing a little bit of distortion, a little bit of compression. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna load up my preset that I made, which is just turning everything off, and we're gonna see what the Vocal Finalizer can do. Let's solo up the vocal, and let's start off with the intensity section.
I said, mama need a house, baby need some shoes. You think it ain't about the paper, then you gotta confuse. Many men have died and tried in the pursuit of the cash. They say you make too much, the IRS on your ass. Now ain't it funny how this money done changed the world?
Notice how when I drive it really hard, we're getting a little bit more saturation. It's bringing up the saturation that was naturally there, but it's also doing a good job of keeping it up and making it really dense. So in this case, I'm actually going to crank up the input just 2 notches, bring down my output, and use the intensity slider at just a little bit with the medium. This should give me a more driven compression while also giving me some dynamics to play with later on.
I said, mama need a house, baby need some
Bypass.
shoes. You think it ain't about the paper, then you gotta confuse. Many men have died and tried in the pursuit of the cash.
Cool, so that is obviously making it sound a little bit more cluttered, and that's because of the compression. So next, let's use the body and brightness to kind of brighten this up just a touch and get rid of some of that mud.
I said, mama need a house, baby need some shoes. You think it ain't about the paper, then you gotta confuse. Many men have died and tried in the pursuit of the cash. They say you make too much, the IRS on your ass. Now ain't it funny how this money done changed the world?
Now I can use a little bit more compression. And let's try out the vocal doubler. We have 3 different types. Let's set the wet to all the way wet, and let's just take a listen, as well as messing around with the stereo width.
I said, mama need a house, baby need some shoes. You think it ain't about the paper, then you gotta confuse. Many men have died and tried in the pursuit of the cash. They say you make too much, the IRS on your ass. Now ain't it funny how this money done changed the world? Global stocks go flop, put your world in a swirl.
I'm really liking type 3 for that kind of 3D effect, but type 1 is also helping it sound a little bit thicker, so we'll use just a little bit of that.
I said, mama need a house, baby need some shoes. You think it ain't about the paper, then you gotta.
Next, let's try out the delay.
I said, mama need a house, baby need some shoes. You think it ain't about the paper, then you gotta confuse. Many men have died and tried in the pursuit of the cash. They say you make too much, the IRS on your ass. Now ain't it funny how this...
So from what I'm hearing, it sounds like the delay's knob or slider is kind of acting like a feedback control. So we'll set it to really subtly. We'll bypass it for now and let's try out the reverb.
I said, mama need a house, baby need some shoes. You think it ain't about the paper, then you got it confused. Many men have died and tried in the pursuit of the cash. They say you make too much, the IRS on your ass. Now ain't it funny how
Let's
this money
bypass it.
done changed the world? Global stocks go flop, put your world in a swirl. What you gonna do now? You ain't got the bread, dude.
That sounds a lot better than I thought it would, especially considering how aggressive it sounded when we utilized the intensity. So it's looking like the intensity sliders where you get your aggressive tone. Then you can use the body and brightness to kind of shape it. And then the doubler, the delay, and the reverb kind of sets it in place. So let's see how it sounds like without it, and then we'll turn it on in the mix.
I said, mama need a house, baby need some shoes. You think it ain't about the paper, then you got it confused.
Let's turn it on.
I said, mama need a house, baby need some shoes. You think it ain't about the paper, then you got it confused. Many men have died and tried in the pursuit of the cash. They say you make too much, the IRS on your ass. Now ain't it funny how this money done changed the world? Global stocks go flop, put your world in a swirl. What you gonna do now? You ain't got the bread. Told you was about the paper, thought you heard what I said. Hey, what you heard, you know it's all about a dollar. My people so broke, make a grown man holler, holler.
For a first impressions and a first look at this is an impressive little product. I really, really do hope that all of the rest of the Palomari collection comes out to be as impressive as this, especially considering that the other ones are plugins that individually have controls. So because we're taking a look at the Finalizer, it's essentially a stripped down version of what everything else has combined in one. So I would assume the more compression style effect, the EQ, the doubler, delay, and reverb plugins individually would have a lot more control, meaning we'd be able to get a much more polished sound. But for what we have here, this is definitely a pretty powerful tool. The only thing I really hope they would add maybe later on in an update is maybe a built-in section to de-ess the vocal, or even utilize something to round out the reverb. I found the reverb can be a little bit too sibilant, especially if you have very high-end heavy vocal. Besides that, this is pretty good. I'm actually really impressed with this thing. It's really light on CPU, and considering it's one plugin and it did all of that, it really can't go wrong unless you have something that needs a lot more intricate work. Anyway, with that said, that's going to be it for this video, and stay tuned because next time we're going to be taking a look at some more telephone effects with another plugin inside of the Palomari collection. But for now, this has been Jeremy Mateo within the DAW, and this has been the NoiseAsh Vocal Finalizer.